Well. It seems like the game has finally really begun. What's up, guys? I love Hunter here, and here to do a breakdown / live reaction review to chapter 112 of Gachiakuta, which is known as, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't see it in this section on the first page, but it'll probably show up soon. But regardless, I'm quite excited. Like another person commented on last week's review, I have already found Tamsi quite a bit more interesting character-wise than Zidol, and I'm interested to see where this story is gonna go, especially considering we're dealing with Rudo of all characters, and how he feels about it, and how he's gonna have to play a certain game with Tamsi, as Tamsi's already figured out that things are hidden from him, but what's hidden from what was told by Kuro? What wasn't told by Kuro? Oh, I'm so excited! So, let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into it. Editing, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Well, sorry. That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. There's still so... This is honestly one of the best twists I've seen in recent memory. Now, of course, I have not consumed all manga. I have not consumed all fiction. I have no idea. Maybe there are infinitely better twists in the current day. But the thing that I like so much about this twist in particular is how it kind of flips the whole series as we know it so far in its head, when we realistically barely knew anything about the series to begin with. Like, we are 112 chapters deep, and we still barely understand the universe. What, this is like its third year of publication, and we still barely understand anything about this universe. And that isn't just coming from me as a person who picked up the manga to, like, speed read it and needs to do a proper reread of it. And so to make sure I know all the characters' names and I get the plot points down. But just on, like, a general level, I've been scouring through the fandom. I've been seeing a whole bunch of theories, but the reason there are so many theories is because we barely knew anything to begin with. And now this twist with Tamsi has flipped what we thought we knew on top of its head again. After we already got the big reveal of the Watchman itself, question mark, if that even is the Watchman. There's so many questions, and I love it. Gachiakuta. Oh, it's cooking. Oh, it's cooking. But let's see. He has heard something about me, hasn't he? Oh, it's like... Once again, the art style is so clean. It's so clean. Hold on. 1 second. I gotta glaze. I must glaze. It's a glaze. Let's make sure I glaze appropriately. Where is it? Not this one. Is it you? It's not you either. That's one of you. Want me to glaze. So, as always, I tend to steal directly from, like, other artists and their art styles. I typically fuse them into my own. I was basically gonna say I'm like a homunculus, but not really. I'm just a whole straight up thief. One of the details I love about Gachiakuta that I mentioned last review is the over-expressive detail, all the extra bits of line work in the characters. So, I did that, and now I'm starting to add that to all my art. I'm trying to leave as little white space as possible, but just enough white space that you can tell what needs to be there. Not necessarily... I think Gachiakuta is different than what Kubo does with their use of characters versus white space. And it more so comes to how little white space is left within the character. And this is a perfect example of it. Look at the extreme detail in Rudo's eyes. From the cross-hatching around the outer layer, to the second inner layer, to the third inner layer. Even that's like super thick cross-hatching in the pupils, to the extra line detailing, like multiple blotches of ink over the top of his eye, to the detail from his hair. Everything is so well implemented. So now it's part of me. I will take it because it's just so peak. Once again, it's so glad. The art style is so glad. I'm sorry. I'm losing the art style. Let's see. He has heard something about me, hasn't he? Uh-oh, what you about to say? What you about to say? Rudo don't fumble the bag. Rudo don't fumble the bag. Rudo don't fumble the bag. Chapter 112. Unboxing. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, this isn't good. Because I remember Kuro had described what he did to whatever the girl's name. I ain't gonna say her a lot, even pretend I know. The girl with the ability to hear memories. He had mentioned, oh, you can open her in like a month. That's fine. Because she was gonna recover in that month period. So, unboxing, I'm a little bit scared. Blessing. Okay then. The moment we've all been waiting for. Unboxing the goods. Oh. Oh, I guess also they received something here too. Let's see. 2 days ago, Cleaner's South Branch. Rudo was asking you. Okay. So unboxing the goods is literally the conversation with Kuro. Okay. Rudo was asking you for 2 pieces of information. ... Hey, wait. Why am I doing the talking? You ask him. I mean, you're more articulate than Rudo, presumably. And you, at least based on how Engine has been written so far, it's presumable that he has had interaction with Kuro before. Or at least has a better understanding about how Kuro functions rather than Rudo, who still barely understands how the world functions in of itself. So, I think it's a smart idea to have you speak Engine. I would also, once again, it's like how even if you are trying to make friends with somebody else, that you have they're a friend by association, as in they're a friend of your friend. Typically, I'd have my friend of that friend speak for me first in order to get a gauge on the other person and then tailor myself appropriately. So I get why Rudo's playing along here. Is like, hey, go ahead and yap it up, King. But it's like, oh, I guess he's just, never mind. Looks like Rudo's not thinking that deep. He just wasn't speaking. Let's get this art, it's so clean. Like, I haven't done it yet. Typically, when I absorb a new manga, and by absorb, I mean just speed read, I try to take characters from it and draw it so far. I did that with Freyren. I ended up doing that with... Let me not say what I ended up doing that with. I'll save that. But still, there are a couple of the mangas I read. Even when I picked up Bleach for the first time, I just went and was like, let me see if I can replicate this art style on my own. I have yet to draw Gachiakuta, and it's partially out of fear. There is so much amazing detail here in this singular image. I don't know how they do this weekly. Like this is some crazy stuff. It's almost to Horikoshi tears of, I'm sorry, you do this on a weekly basis? Are you okay? Mentally? Physically? Psychologically? Are you okay? What's it? First, I want to know what I asked you at the beginning. Where to find the person who made the chokers. That way I can find out if they're using a part of the Watchmen series, which is one of the clues to getting across the border. Oh, if only you knew, Rudo, if only you knew. But we already know that they don't, apparently Kuro didn't know who made the chokers. And when we find them, we can ask if they can trace Amo's choker. That's why I decided this question. Boss did tell you to narrow it down to 1 after all. I think you did a great job of nailing 2 birds with 1 stone, don't you? Technically, yeah. Simply by asking who made the choker. Then again, that's a big leap. I get it though, because once again, he technically does get 2. He'll be able to find Amo, and he'll be able to get the choker information. But, I still think you could, because what if you get to the choker person, and they're like, and let's say it goes like this. Kuro knew who did it already, right? Kuro knew it was Tamsi who attacked Amo, and then Jabber came after Tamsi had already kidnapped Amo. So the real question becomes, what if Kuro knew that, but then told you who made the chokers? If obviously, let me not talk in hypotheticals, because we already know that Kuro doesn't know, presumably. That's it. Don't you? For my second question, let him answer the first one. For my second question, in exchange for playing along with your little scheme, you'll give me another piece of information. I love Kuro, bro. Wait, what's the point of that? Wait, see, that's a little stupid. that's a little stupid. Like, of all the bits of information you could have dragged out of him, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, that's redundant. At least according to what you say here, we can ask if they can trace Amo's choker. What's the point? What's the point of even merging these 2 questions if you're just gonna ask where she is anyway? Yeah, a little bit weird. Let's see. But I don't know, something about Kuro's design is so fantastic to me. Something about his build is everything. The fit, the build, everything. He just has the exaggerated swagger of an elf that's lived over 1,000 years. Free rent? Let's see. He'll tell me where Amo is. Bro, posed up like that really means anything. Come on. Chill out, Rudo. Let's see. Dude, you managed to drag it right to... Dude, you managed to drag the right to another piece of intel out of him, and you go with that? I thought we were going to ask the choker guy about Amo. Me too. Me too, Engine. Me too. If I can get 2 answers, then I refuse to miss out my chance to learn about Amo. I suppose. Once again, it's not the most illogical decision, but like 2 pieces of information from the guy who has all the information. I would straight up. I would have treated it like the Dragon Balls, bro. I would have tried my best to word the first one so where I could get two pieces of information out. But I guess they're too disconnected to link together into one phrase. Like the location of the maker of the chokers and the whereabouts of Amo, like you can't tie that together. But like, even Engine's like, oh, Rudo, you idiot. I was like, ugh, lovely. I admire your decision, Rudo. Let's see. Then shall we begin with Amo? I love it. And that's the thing. I do genuinely wonder, especially considering how we now understand Kuro's information gathering and longevity, or maybe not understand his longevity, but at least we know he does have longevity that feeds into his vast mind and how he is able to retain so much information. What is his system like? Does he have a vital instrument? What is his organization ability? What allows him to gather all this information? Does he have eyes everywhere? Does he have people reporting back to him? He seems like such an anomaly that it'd be hard to believe that we wouldn't have already met someone who reports back to Kuro. But at the same time, I guess we just don't know that much about him? I don't know. Because sure, if you have the longevity of information, it makes sense that you'd be able to pull up data from like 10 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. But if these things are recent events, and presumably, I forget how long ago it was since the Amo arc, but it hasn't been that long, I don't think, in universe. So I wonder, how does Kuro get this information? Is he just everywhere? Is he omnipresent? I doubt that. Does he have magical spells? Is it a vital instrument? I don't know. It seems a little bit interesting. Once again, I hope we can see Kuro again. I know he's gonna disappear off the face of the manga for a while, but I hope we do see him again, because he's a really interesting character, and I like him a lot. Let's see. Huh? That's the town when we went shopping for all the gifts for Zonka. For the get well gifts for Zonka. It's right around the corner. Yes, that is where Amo is currently being held captive. Held captive? Oh. Kuro's like, I don't know, something about his, and the funny thing is, I'm going to say something about his archetype earlier, like, I really don't like his archetype of character, but for some reason, the way that it's being written, and the way it's being portrayed, and the smugness, and the smile, and the suit, and the swagger, and everything about it works, which is so weird, because I typically hate characters like this. I think I've complained about this type of character before. And, like, here's the thing, this type of character is one offset from, like, the mastermind character who did everything. And I love those types of characters. I love me a good Aizen, I love me a good Kinjaku, I love me a good Xehanort. Like, I do love those types of characters, which is weird, considering I don't necessarily like the archetype that Kuro fits into. But for some reason, Gachiakuta just makes it work for me. What is wrong with me? Is it just peak? It makes me peak. I was like, held captive? By who? Careful, Rudo. Asking you more questions, I'll need to collect another payment. You distinctly asked to know where Amo is. Well, yeah, that's as far as I can tell you. However, I threw in the words, held captive. That is something a little extra from me to you. For the rest, you'll have to find the answer yourself. So yeah. Once again, Kuro almost it's interesting. He's an slight off end of the archetype, because he plays more into like the trickster fiend role. He reminds me a lot of, ironically enough, the Cheshire Cat, specifically like in the Kingdom Hearts connotation, and I suppose in the original Alice in Wonderland, where they're just an extremely knowledgeable creature that's also extremely powerful. But then again, it's hard to determine Kuro's level of strength. He's seemingly fast and very knowledgeable, but like I'm not sure how much raw power he has. But ultimately, the archetype he fits into does lead to a more so Watcher aesthetic. So if you've watched Marvel's recent What If series, or you just know the Watcher role from the Marvel comics, Kuro does seem more so like an outside observer that has less a predilection to observing. In fact, do you know what Kuro reminds me of, or who Kuro reminds me of? What's her name from BlazBlue? The daughter of Dracula, I do believe. I forget what her name is. But in the BlazBlue universe, there's literally a phenomenon called observing and observers, or I forget. Man, I need to rewatch something arcades, Thorgy's Arcades retrospect. I've watched it like 3 times already. I just need to get the idea down. But in that universe, there are characters whose whole job it is to observe that creation, and typically they're not allowed to interfere. Rachel, that's her name, Rachel. But Rachel, like the Watcher in Marvel's What If, and typically the Watcher in Marvel Comics, tends to interfere, but typically they do it for the greater good. Kuro takes that kind of observer archetype where he has all the information, he knows what's going on, he basically has the plot, he has the manuscripts, but instead of going in to immediately help, he still has his own motivations. He's still doing his own thing, and thusly he's a lot more shifty and whiny and slimy. So it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. I like Kuro. Let's see. For the rest, you'll have to find the answer by yourself. I can pay your stupid price if... No. Might get someone hurt again. Well, I'm sorry, I went way too deep on Rudo's voice. I gotta remember, the kid's 15. I was like, no. I might get someone hurt again. Like Rio. Oh, well, would you look at that? I see you can keep your cool when your friends are at stake. Very wise. Kuro, do you have friends? Let's see. I would appreciate it if you could maintain that cool demeanor. What? Let's see. The next question. Y'all worked very hard to pay the price for this. The person who created the chokers. You wanted the information on the choker maker. Interesting. He also has fangs, too. Like I want to say he's an elf, but I don't necessarily know elves having fangs. At that point of year, the build is so crazy, though. Let's see. Well, I don't have it. That's devious. That is mad devious. But that's interesting. That's interesting. The fact that Kuro doesn't know. And once again, because of how he's described and how he operates in absolutes, I highly doubt he's lying. Like, the thought crossed my mind last review when we found out that apparently he didn't have it, but it seems and I know we barely know Kuro, and we can probably barely trust Kuro, but it seems out of character for him to just be like, ha ha ha, I actually do know, but I'm not going to tell you. I think since the price was paid, he would do it. So if he doesn't know, then that's really interesting. That raises a lot. Once again, the verse, despite us being so deep in, keeps broadening and keeps opening up the scope and keeps evolving in organic ways that keeps the mystery not only alive but ever evolving. I love that kind of writing. I'd say Gachiakuta, and as a massive Kingdom Hearts fan, you can tell, a massive Kingdom Hearts fan, I'll say this: Gachiakuta has a better variation of Kingdom Hearts Nomura style writing. Where just like in Kingdom Hearts, a lot of information is unknown, and typically getting answers only leads to more questions. But where in certain points in Kingdom Hearts, especially with the introduction of the mobile game saga and how much that has impacted 3 and will impact the future of Cage, where it feels like a lot of Nomura just falling down some stairs, and then like whatever falls out of his pockets is what the plot is. I'm confident in saying the writer of Gachiakuta has all the answers. They know. But And since they know, I think they do have it planned out, at least in like a general bullet point sense. Since they know, they're able to sprinkle They're able to sprinkle out the evolutions of the plot carefully and poignantly throughout the entire run. That's why we keep learning more and more and more and more and more, but all the more we learn, or will fail to learn, the more and more questions it raises. So I'm gonna stop my toes. Are they curling? They're curling! Let's see. Well, I don't have it. But the question is, did he give them another piece of information? Because if so, if he doesn't, that's kind of scummy. Like, that'd be bad for his reputation. But let's see. Wait, is that girl? Did they knock a girl out the... I mean, you know what? I'll admit, I get... it makes sense why girl says, hey, you can stay calm right now? Stay calm, alright? But I will admit, if I was Rudo, I would be furious. My blood would be boiling, especially in concern for Rio. But I would immediately flatline and be like, okay, so you owe me another piece of information then. If you can't give me what I paid the price for, you gargantuan big bot. Like, the anger would start to seep through. Like, I'm trying to like translate it over to like, if my friend group went out specifically to get a specific piece of information, and the person who I was guaranteed was going to have the information looked me dead in the face after bamboozling me. I was like, I actually have no idea what you're asking about. I think I can understand the rage immediately overpowering me, and I'm a full grown man. Let's see. I gotta stop glazing. I just keep saying this. I'm sorry. I keep glazing the art style because it's literally gorgeous. I would eat it. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's see. laughing, dog. What? Rudo, no! You stupid, idiotic, jerk-faced, moron, quack, con artist, freaking turd face! You don't have it? What do you mean you don't have it? That means you don't even know! What do you want from me? Honestly, don't know. I mean, true. That's the thing, right? It's not like he's a search engine. He's a dude. So if he doesn't have the information, he doesn't have... But still, it is scummy, and you have... Like, at least in my opinion. How do I put this? It's kind of like, say you go to a location specifically for one thing. You go, you pay for that one thing, and then, for some reason or another, that thing gets canceled. Typically, at least in our modern day and age, you would get a credit for either the equivalent thing, or you would get something else that is available but equivalent to that thing. So say, for example, your flight gets canceled due to situation that beyond your control. Just the airline itself cancels the flight, not you being late or anything like that. You would typically get an airline credit, or you would be put on the next flight. Something of equivalent value. So I think here and now, Kuro does owe them another piece of information, simply because he's not able to meet the criteria of what they're asking for. And they did pay the price. It's Kuro's fault that he gave up 2 pieces. Once again, that he even offered to give up a second piece of information. And while Amo's location is nice, he promised to, so give me 2. I was like, don't give me that garbage! You could have led with that, you rotten, lousy turd face! Calm down, calm down. I know how you feel. Oh wait, that's full. Calm down. I know how you feel, but don't hit him. Then what was any of this for? Was it all some stupid, pointless game? LOL, and she's like, man, I'm so done with this. Rio had to get seriously injured so you could find out what was in that box. I don't feel bad about this, believe me. Oh, perfect. I have it right here. I think we already saw the resolution of this a little bit ago. Like we saw how this ends up playing out. That's the thing. This is a flashback. I was like, Besides, you got to see your ancestors' will. So you did get something out of it. I mean, oh, okay. So he's holding out a piece of paper. I wonder what that is. That is probably the more specific location of Amo. Let's see. You did get something out of it. That's the thing, right? It'd be cool, but then again, I guess we don't have powers. But like, it'd be interesting to get something from my ancient ancestors, like 10 generations, 20 generations back. But I'd be like, neat. This means nothing to me. Because I don't know. Like, I would love to meet my great-grandparents. I never got to meet them. I'd love to meet my great-great-grandparents and their grandparents. Once again, they wouldn't know I exist. Heck, my existence shocked my living grandparents when I happened. So, like, there would be no, like, connection. And while, of course, blood is thicker than water, just the idea of, oh, this is from your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. Neat. I guess I'll keep it. But, like, what does that do for me? I was like, ooh, but what does Kuro got on hand here? Oh, Rudo's just not paying attention. I can't anymore! I'm gonna pound him! Whoa. Rudo. That is very specific connotations in the modern day. Don't be pounding. I think you're a little bit too young for that. I was like, wait, this is... Uh-oh, Kuro. So what did Engine learn? Can't let the boy... So what's Kuro hiding from Rudo? Do forgive me. The Choker Maker is an expert at hiding information. Only false information has ever reached my ear. How do you know it's false? Well, maybe he investigates it. But how do you know it's false? Unless you... That's the thing. Unless you know. That's my question, right? Because that's how you... I mean, but you could just fact check by investigating. And maybe he did, and then he never really found the real Choker Maker. Interesting. Only false information ever reaches my ears. Uh-oh. I didn't figure out something? How dare you just... Rudo. That's just how this guy is. Leave him. Let's go visit Rio, and we can all go save Amo. Leave him? How can you even say that? After all the nonsense this guy pulled? Now. Have some candy, and let's settle down. Uh-oh. But what is that? What does that mean? What does that say? What is this text? hold on. Okay, so we're gonna get it explained. Rudo, he reads the letter. The contents of this letter must never be spoken out loud. The Choker Maker listens to our voices. In 2 weeks, the South Lord will be holding its doll festival. Go there and look for the White Crow. The crow will lead you to someone who knows where to find the Choker Maker. But if the Choker Maker catches wind of this, your target will escape. So tell no one, not even your fellow cleaners. Oh, spaghetti. Okay. The information broker doesn't know where to find the Choker Maker. Seriously, he's such a turd. I'm sorry, Tamsy. You don't even have to be me to know you're lying, Rudo. Interesting. So, I'll admit, this makes more sense for the longevity of Tamsy as a character. I'll make that concession immediately. As much as I'm like, oh, really? So we're gonna fake out the idea that Rudo knows it was Tamsy who did this, and we're just gonna continue that. But let's be real. If Kuro had told Enshin and Rudo that Tamsy was a traitor, presumably Tamsy would be jumped. If he had got any information about Tamsy and his either alliance to himself or some greater power or something like that, then yes, presumably Tamsy would be jumped to oblivion. He wouldn't even be standing there. It wouldn't make sense for him to be. So it does make sense that the information that was given was that and not Tamsy's betrayal and or false allegiance. So I'll give that. That's a smart writing choice for the longevity of Tamsy as an antagonist. Ultimately, removing an antagonist as interesting, and not just as interesting, but as important as Tamsy, considering he is Rudo's entire motivation and the reason that Rudo even ended up in the underground. Yes, that is a very valid reason to write it this way. So I even go and knock the hustle of the writer on this one. I won't knock the hustle. The other thing, the thing that does catch my attention here, is the idea that the Choker Maker is always listening. That is a smart concept that I personally wouldn't have even thought of. I give credit to Kuro, and I give credit to Enshin, and even Rudo for keeping it silent for so long. The idea that the Choker Maker would be essentially a living, breathing listening point does make sense, right? Because they would be the ones that created everything, especially if it was made with their vital instrument. Who knows? Maybe it acts similar to the girl, where she listens to memories, but the Choker Maker has direct access to everything. So ultimately, getting any information on them would be devious, and saying it out loud, which is the most common form of communication, would obviously alert them about their location and obviously tell them to move and scramble and dash about. I like this twist on it because it has the twofold effect. Well, actually, it has a threefold effect. One, like I mentioned, it does keep Tamsy as a much more viable long-term antagonist, and ultimately, it does still leaves Tamsy still in an interesting spot with Rudo, because he doesn't know that Rudo's lying about the Choker Maker. Tamsy assumes Rudo knows about what Tamsy did. So now Tamsy's going to be walking on eggshells around Rudo specifically, and possibly the rest of the cleaners, for the wrong reason. And now Rudo still doesn't know what Tamsy did, so will likely not be walking around on eggshells around Tamsy, especially considering his internal monologue here. So that tension is still there, and in fact is multiplied, except now Rudo's probably in even more danger than he was before. And remember, Tamsy's ultimately decided that he still has to kill somebody. That's not off the table. Even though he can clearly tell that Rudo's someone onto him, that doesn't change the fact that Tamsy's looking at somebody. So that plot point is still there, laid out and simmering on top of Rudo's new need to hide this. Presumably only him and Enshin know, considering Kuro said keep it from even the rest of the cleaners. And Kuro's integrity as a character is also maintained. He does know. He knows everything. Naturally, he's the information broker. He would never fail. But very specifically in this context, he allows the facade of failure in order to make sure that they can actually succeed in their mission. Because if he had told them exactly where he knows they are right now, then ultimately they'd be gone. So that's it's a really good writing choice. I was gonna get on it slightly because I don't like how Rudo, it really could have been an interesting character conflict if only Rudo and Enshin had heard about Tamsy's betrayal and now suddenly needed to focus on that idea. And since it's quite obvious, based on how Kuro phrases it, he knows that it was Tansy. He's waiting and watching for it to play out. But once again, it keeps the vagueness and the mystery surrounding Tansy and his relationship to the grander narrative and Kuro's relationship to the grander narrative up in the air. I like that. I like so much about Gachiakuta. Like, for a manga I looked at and heard about for the longest time, I was like, this can't be that peak. It's that peak. So overall, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave white crow, white as in like the color white, crow as in the bird, in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reactions, say the series I happen to review, ad-free variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, I do have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below where you can drop 5 beans for a short video, 25 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with a Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Zara, Greyhound, Eternal Flame, NMA, Real Rare, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Brandon Payne, G Prosper, and Glacier XZ. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, Sean, Igneel Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $7 members, Fine and Austin Wimberly, A Uchiha, along with Yuki Ally. And I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $10 members, Robbie Uchiha, Jay Warrior, and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 patrons, Overlord Zero, Joaquin Munoz, and Idem Okami. And I'd like to give a final, giga, legendary, superhuman, beyond the bounds of reality thank you to our That Guy with a Pencil tier patron. Okay. Calvin Elder.